Hey everybody, Dr. Nelson here. This is a video about something called polynomials. Alright, so for the first few pages you're going to follow along with me, and then there'll be some problems for you to try, and then along the way you can see how you're doing. Alright, so what exactly is a polynomial? For many of you that's going to be a new term. Okay, and if you notice on this page we have something called a monomial, a binomial, a trinomial, and then a polynomial. Well, a polynomial is just the sum of monomials. So let's write that down. It's the sum of monomials. Alright, so you're probably wondering, what in the world is a monomial? Okay, well over here, I wrote down the textbook definition. Okay, a monomial is an expression that is either a numeral, a variable, okay, or the product of a numeral and one or more variables. Okay, so any number, like say the number 7, okay, well that's a numeral, so that's technically a monomial. Okay, a variable could be a monomial, like say the variable y. Okay, but also the product, okay, of a numeral and one or more variables. So 7y is also an example of a monomial. Okay, but we could also say 7x, y, z. Okay, that's also considered a monomial. Okay, so a monomial is either a numeral, a variable, or the product of one or more variables with a numeral. All right. Another example could just be just plain old x, y, because we have 1 as the coefficient for that one. All right. So now that you know what a monomial is, okay, a binomial is just the sum of two monomials. All right. So the sum of two monomials. All right, so we could say, I don't know, 5 plus 2x, okay? That's an example of a monomial, okay? But say, for example, if we wanted to have a subtraction sign here. Say if we wanted to have, say, I don't know, 4 minus 2y, all right? You can actually leave that the way it is because we could write that as a plus, a minus, okay? But for these, it's totally fine to just leave it with the subtraction sign, just 4 minus 2y, okay? So even though it says the word sum down here, okay, you can still have subtraction signs. All right, last but not least, something called a trinomial, okay? Well, you can probably figure out what that is. That's just the sum of 3 monomials, all right? So an example of a trinomial could be 5x plus 2y plus 8, okay? And notice none of these terms are like terms, okay? We can't simplify it. Another example could be negative 4 plus 7z plus r. Right, that's another example of a trinomial. All right. If you turn the page, let's see if we can solve these together here. All right. So it says classify each expression as either a monomial, a binomial, or a trinomial. All right. So the first expression we have is x squared plus 4. So that, let's see, there's the first term is x squared, so that's the first monomial. The second term is a 4, that's a second monomial. So because there's 2, that's going to be a binomial. All right. Over here, 5x, that's going to be a monomial. It's only one term. Here we have our first trinomial. All right, 3x squared is a monomial, 5x is a monomial, and 11 is a monomial. So that's a trinomial. 175, well that's a numeral, so that's just purely a monomial. What do you think this one is? Yep, that's going to be a trinomial. And last but not least, negative 3x minus 7. Again, we could make that a plus a negative 7 if we wanted to. All right, it's the same thing, but that would just be a binomial. All right. So now that you got the hang of this, why don't you pause the video and try the your turn problems now. And when you're done, hit play. You can see how you did. All right, good luck. All right, welcome back. Let's say I do these practice problems, okay? So the first one, 5xy, okay, that would be a monomial. 8x plus 9, well, the 8x is a monomial, and the 9 is a monomial. So because there's 2, that's a binomial. Negative 6 is just a numeral, so that's a monomial. This is our first trinomial because there's 3 terms, 3 monomials. so that's going to be a trinomial. Here we have a 9x plus 7, so that would be a binomial. And last but not least, we have an x plus y plus z, okay? And each one of these is their own separate monomial, so that would be a trinomial. All right, how'd you do?